Welcome to the climb! This is a show dedicated to helping singers, songwriters, and indie artists like you create leverage in the music business. That's the new music business. You're not going to get signed on talent alone. You're going to have to bring some results. You have to bring a reputation to the table, some business, some hits, some cuts. That's what they want to see before they're going to invest in you. Why we called it the C.L.I.M.B, C.L.I.M.B, creating leverage in the music business. Let me introduce you to my co-host and my good friend, Mr. Brent Baxter, who came up with that amazing backstronym, which is important to today's episode. Brent's an award-winning hit songwriter with cuts by Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Lady Antebellum, Joe Nichols, and more. And he helps songwriters like you turn pro by revealing how you can write like a pro, do business like a pro, and then on the regular, he's going to give you opportunities to connect with the pros and get your game up. Okay, you can find Brent super easy at songwritingpro.com. Once again, that's songwritingpro.com.
And I would like to introduce you to my co-host, Johnny Dwinell. Johnny owns Daredevil Production. Daredevil has created over 25 national TV opportunities for their indie artists by making them discoverable. And they've also created multiple tour opportunities and, big word alert, through the power of digital marketing data, they've attracted a large number of investors for their artists. And the investors like the numbers because numbers don't lie because numbers don't talk. And you can find Johnny at daredevilproduction.com. That is production, singular, no S, and there is no S because there is no other Johnny D.
Hello. How are you, brother?
Man, I'm making it. I'm trying not to hag and cough all over the podcast today. Allergies and stuff.
Yeah, so, you got it going on out there, huh?
I got the lozenges in. I got the inhaler. I got just trying to breathe, brother. So other than that, I'm all right.
Right on. Yeah, we're just all stormy weather out here for the weekend.
Very fun.
CMA weekend. It's insanity.
That's right.
It's insanity.
Yes, it is. Always a good time.
Well, what are we going to learn about today?
Well, here's the deal. If you want to make a living as a songwriter, you need to write songs that get a lot of radio spins, right? And if you want a publishing deal as a songwriter, you need to be writing the kind of songs that get spins. Now, if you just be happy to get a song or two recorded, even if they don't become singles, you still need to write the type of song that get spins. So if you want an artist to record your music, you need to write songs with built-in spins. How do you build in spins to your song? It's another backstronym, and we're going to get into it today. S-P-I-N-S, that's right.
I can't wait to hear what that sounds like. Let's take care of a little business first. The C.L.I.M.B podcast is proud to partner with Disc Makers, our good friends. They've been supporting indie musicians before indie music was even a thing. When you're ready to make CDs, DVDs, vinyl, or distribute your music and videos with customized USBs, discmakers.com is the only place you need to go. That's discmakers.com.
And while you're there, be sure and click on the Guides and Resources tab and download some of their excellent free guides. They've just revised and expanded their home studio handbook, which has a ton of great advice and information for newbies and for studio veterans. You can find them online at www.discmakers.com or give them a call at 800-468-9353. That's 800-468-9353.
Nice. And hey, if you haven't joined the C.L.I.M.B community, please do so. I think we're like less than 10 away from 1,000, which is
we're super close. I checked it this week. Yeah.
So that's cool. Thanks for everybody that's been giving referrals. Once again, thank you, all the climbers out there, for taking the time to hang out with us on a weekly basis and listen to what's going on. You mean the world to us, and we don't take that lightly. Believe me, we're both, Brent and I, are starved for time. And honestly, we know what kind of a big time investment that is, which is worth way more than money. And we just want you to know we appreciate you very much.
We do. I love running into people that are climbers or seeing them on social media. It's like, love the podcast. I've been listening, long time listener. Just makes my day, makes me feel good because they're getting value out of it. They're not listening because they have to. They listen because they want to. And so
they're not listening because it's the right thing to do. We're trying to support local podcasters. No, it's because we're getting something out of it.
Because it's right. They're getting something out of it. It's the right thing to do for them. And that's what it's about. So
that's right. So thank you on that. Join the C.L.I.M.B community. Get lots of information, a place to go and ask some questions if you don't know. They are well versed in the tenets of our specific gospel, and they're going to offer up answers. I don't think I've seen one yet that, except for the occasional negative Nancy that's on there, but I don't think I've seen one answer that was like incorrect, or something that I would disagree with.
Yeah, it's a really good community. It's been a good. I mean, we've kind of laid down the culture, and people are picking it up and running with it, and it's been helpful. And I saw a notification. I guess it was this morning or last night. Somebody in another group, which shall remain nameless. I mean, but they're like, I thought this was supposed to be a group about like songwriters connecting and stuff, but all everyone does is post their songs. And that was it. And somebody was like, I'm sorry. I started this group, but then I got really busy in my band and I haven't really laid down the culture. And sorry, I may just close it up. I don't know. Because it just became a place where people are shouting in the corners. People are posting their songs and nobody's connecting with each other. And I felt sorry for her and for people in that group, but it made me smile because like the climb community is not that way.
Their kids are running around in restaurants and screaming and hollering and raising hell, and our kids are well behaved.
Well behaved and having a good time.
Yeah, that's right.
Like I tell my kids, be good, have fun. You can do both.
That's right.
All right.
Well, there you go. So, hey, subscribe to the podcast if you haven't done so already. Everything comes in order wherever you'd like to consume your podcast. Take 30 seconds and leave a rating and review if you haven't done it yet. This means a lot. There's always new people coming in and checking it out, and they're going to look at those reviews to see what other people think about it. So that helps. And finally, the best thing you can do is share it. If there's one specific episode that just is really, really touched you, that somehow you had an epiphany, you got some clarity, share that on your social media. Tell musician friends, your other writer friends, your other indie artist friends out there, hey, this is worth the time. Check it out, because that's the best possible referral you could give us. So that's all I got to say about that. I want to find out what the heck is a spin.
All right, spins. So it's a Baxter M, as we like to call them around here. SPINS, we're going to get into what it stands for. But basically these days, it seems like it's harder and harder than ever to land a cut on a major artist. If you're listening to one of our previous episodes about the Billboard Country Singles Chart breakdown, you see that, wow, a lot of artists co-writes, a few people getting a lot of the cuts. It's just harder to get cuts these days. There are literally tens of thousands of songwriters in Nashville trying to get one of their songs recorded by a handful of major artists. That's not even counting the thousands of songwriters in other major music cities like London, Toronto, LA, New York, all that stuff, and small towns all around the world that are competing for cuts on the same records, right? The competition and the opportunity, thankfully, doesn't stop there. A quick check of any online music platform, whether, Reverb Nation, Spotify, Amazon Music, whatever, will reveal that there are thousands of independent artists who are releasing new music every day. Like, how do you get a song on one of their projects, right? Because I tell you, $1 doesn't care where it comes from. It doesn't care if it comes from an indie artist or a major artist. It doesn't care if it comes from Canada, Australia, or next door. It doesn't care where it comes from. Just find me. I think you get cuts by writing songs with spins, with built-in spins. So, I love acronyms. So let's break it down and talk about
Baxtronyms.
Baxtronyms, that's right. So you ready?
Yeah.
Do a little wordplay here. All right. S is for sticky. All right. Your song has to get stuck in the listener's head. It needs to be memorable. It needs to stick with your listener. So you can do this multiple ways. Great way to start. I like to start by having a unique, compelling hook or title. So avoid titles that have been done a million times, like I Love You, Over You, that kind of stuff. Those titles aren't going to send a publisher, a producer, or an artist scrambling to hear your song. It's just not going to happen. It's not compelling. You want to be more creative and more memorable. And the spins, these work for both helping you get your songs recorded and then helping them be successful after they're recorded. You want to be sticky so it sticks in the process and in the mind of the producer who's hearing hundreds of songs or thousands of songs and the artist who's hearing thousands of songs. You got to be sticky, right? Yeah. To be one of the ones that hangs on. You just want to be that tick that just climbing up the kid's sock as he's walking through the tall grass going, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it to a vein. I'm going to make it to a vein. It's like, just hang on there. Sorry, country analogy. This country moment was brought to you by Arkansas.
And Lyme disease.
And Lyme disease, that's right.
And the CDC.
That's right. So you want to be more creative and more memorable with your titles. I mean, that's one of the things that helped Monday Morning Church make it through is that, oh, that's an interesting title. I want to hear that. And I think it's one of those things that help it be compelling and sticky for listeners. Is just it had a different hook on it. The House That Built Me. I immediately want to know what that's about. These different titles that stand out. You hear other titles and you're like, okay, well, we'll see what this is. I've probably heard this 1,000 times. So that's one way to get your song sticky. The other is, and it's a huge one, is having melodic hooks in your songs, earworms, ear candy, right? It can be some melodic pieces that stand out and stay with the listener after the first listen. If the listener can at least hum along or sing along by the time they hit the last chorus, that is a great sign. So, I mean, more and more melodic hooks and little lyrical hooks you can put in your song, it helps it to be sticky, to stick with the listener. Also, imagery is a great way to be sticky. You give the listener something to see in their mind's eye, something fresh, something real and unexpected. And then there's a much better chance the song will be memorable. I mean, I still remember with the Katy Perry song, Waking Up in Vegas. not only because I wrote a song with the same title, darn you, Katy Perry, but that line about popping the glitter out of your collar sticks with me. And so many things in so many songs that, you see a moment in that lyric. The microphone smells like a beer. Billy Joel and Piano Man. There's these lines that will stick with the listener. It helps it to be sticky because there's some sort of imagery.
Really good imagery, yeah.
Will stick with the listener when it's fresh and when it's different, when it's real and when it's compelling.
Neil Diamond, LA's fine, but it ain't home. New York's home, but it ain't mine no more. Never forget that. It's like, oh, that's so good.
Yeah, there's so many. When you have a great image, it's sticky. It sticks in the listener's mind. It paints a picture, so they don't have to just remember the words. They're remembering what they see and, in a way, what they experience. So S is for sticky. You want to build your song intentionally in a way that's going to stick with your listener. If you write a song that makes sense, and we've all written songs, we're like, yeah, man, that sounds good. That sounds like a song. All right. But is there anything that I'm humming on the way home from the co-write? Anything that's stuck in my head going, I'm going to hear that all day long? If you're not having some of those in your song, you need to go back and look at it and go, okay, we need to build in some ear candy, some stickiness to this. Because it may be a good technical melody and it's functional and it fits the mood and the vibe. But if it doesn't have some of that ear candy, some hooks in it, go back and add some. Because you're trying to hook the listener. Because you're trying to catch a cut. So that's sticky. All right, makes sense? So about the P is for positioning. Your song should be well positioned for your target market, all right? It has to make sense for the genre and for the potential artist. So like your I'm a whiskey drinking, fist swinging rebel song is not going to work for an artist who is positioned as like a lover, not a fighter. The more sensitive guy. It may be great, maybe, but it's not going to work for that artist. Or in certain genres, it may be sticky, may be memorable, but I mean, this is obviously broad strokes, but Highway to Hell by AC/DC, sticky. Yeah. I'm on my high. It's sticky, right? It's great. Not going to work on Christian radio.
No.
Right? So it's sticky, but it's very poorly positioned for that market. I mean, that's an obvious over-the-top example.
Yeah, I got to interject here. So this is like, whether you're aware of it or not, whether you believe it or not, whether you like it or not, this is the reality. I mean, not being aware of what Brent's talking about right now, not having that awareness and going through that process in your head is just as insanely ignorant as hopping in a minivan and trying to take a corner at 90 miles an hour because you think it's like a Ferrari and it's going to stay on the road.
Yeah.
It's not, right? It's not.
Or hopping in the car and saying, we're going to get to Disney World. And you have no idea where Disney World is. We're just going to drive.
Yeah, just keep going. We can go that way.
I'll bump into it eventually. If I drive fast enough and I have a nice enough car, I'll bump into Disney World.
And there are a boatload of amateur songwriters that approach their business that way.
Yeah.
And
you're like,
straight up.
Is that El Disney World though? Because I think I'm in Mexico now. I start off in Nebraska.
El Disney World though.
It is. It's seriously like getting in the car and but I'm going to drive fast and I'm going to handle the sucker. It handles like a dream. But I don't know where Disney World is. I never bothered to look it up. I'm just hopping in my car and driving, and eventually I'll see it.
When I did that Connery record, the amount of songs that I got that were just so far from his brand were astounding.
Yeah, they might. And some of them were probably.
I was pissed because it was a last minute dump, and I didn't have freaking time. It's like 2:00 in the morning. I got to listen to this. It's not even close.
Yeah,
I don't care if it's a hit song. He's never going to cut this.
Right. And so then they become a problem for you. And so some of those songs may have been sticky. They may have been like well done and like some ear candy. Great. Yeah. But it's not Colin Ray. It's not well positioned for the target artist.
Yeah.
So it's not going to get cut. You didn't cut any of those songs.
I mean, think about this. Let's break this down into a small town thing, right? You're in a small town and you get a brand new neighbor moves next door and they come over and they're like, hey, can I borrow a hammer? And you're like, yeah, sure. And you go and you give them a wrench.
He's like, excuse me, I need it. I'm sorry, I said hammer.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. Yeah, here you go. And you give him a screwdriver.
I'm going to try the next neighbor.
Yeah, I mean, you look like a moron, right? You're not listening to me. I don't feel like you're listening to me at all. And we all want to be heard.
But I have all these screwdrivers in the back.
And they're awesome. They're awesome. Dude, that's a good screwdriver.
That's a great screwdriver.
Why don't you like that screwdriver? I'm trying to pound a nail.
I'm trying to pound a nail.
What the hell? You know how much that screwdriver costs? Like,
all those hammers are the same. All those hammers are just one hammer after another. They all got a big, heavy, hard thing on one end and a handle on the other.
That's right. Made by a big, ugly corporation that just wants to make money.
All they want to do is hit nails.
About the people with screwdrivers like me.
I just got to hang up something. So I'm going to go.
You got a hammer?
Good luck.
As stupid as that sounds, I've had a lot of conversations where I felt just exactly like that.
I got one off the Billboard, chart breakdown. Oh, I got one of those going on the Songwriting Pro Facebook group. I'm sure it's not going by the time this drops, but yeah, same thing. It's all the same BS. It's all sound alike. I'm like, they got to pound a nail, buddy. Yep. So, oh, well, it is what it is. But the point is right. You got to be well positioned. It doesn't matter if they're catchy songs. It doesn't matter if it's a great screwdriver. If it's not well positioned for the market and for the artist, they're not going to cut it. And also it helps to write songs that are artist friendly. So what does it mean by being artist friendly? Examples maybe it makes the artist look good. Right? It fits their general brand of being like a good guy or a good girl or whatever. Is it something the artist wants to say to their audience? That's being artist friendly, right? It makes them look good. It's what they want to say. So that kind of stuff you want to talk about, because not saying country, they're not going to talk about being an axe murderer.
Yeah.
And gospel, they're not going to talk about, well, when I get drunk on Saturday night, but I show up in church and thank God forgives me.
Not going to be talking about backhanding a woman
in that. Yeah, it's not going to work in that market, right? You do the back half of that about, thank God forgives me, but you can't highlight I get sloshed on Saturday. It's not going to work in that market, right? Again, it could be sticky, but if it's not well positioned, no one's going to record it, right? So we got the S and this P. You ready for the I?
Yes.
I is for impact. Smack. Your song needs to make an impact on the artist and the listener. It should make them feel something. The worst thing a song can do is leave you the way it found you, right? Love it, hate it, whatever. The worst thing it can do is just have no effect on you. They say the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is apathy. At least hate involves some sort of connection and emotion.
Yeah.
So does your song make the listener want to laugh, cry, dance, or think? Does a large audience care about your song's subject matter? That's called being universal, right? It's a universal subject matter. That's why people sing about love so much, because it's universal. We all exist in a world of relationships and emotion and love and loss and all that stuff. So that's why people sing about those big topics, because it's so universal. That's why there aren't more songs on the radio about Duke football team.
Yeah.
Because it's not, most people don't care, right? So they're trying to reach a big audience. So they sing about the big universal things: love, drinking, sex, God, something a lot of people at least can relate to and connect with on some level. So also, another way for impact is you want to start by having a clear emotional goal for your song. So, is your song about getting the listener on the dance floor, getting the listener on their knees praying, getting the listener on the phone with mama, or getting the listener on their boyfriend? If you don't know the response you want from the listener, you're probably not going to get it. Now, you don't have to know this right up front. Sometimes you're in the process of discovery when you're writing your song. You go, oh, this is really what this is about. Your subconscious is working out. That's cool. But by the time you finish your song, you need to have it this is a very clear goal. This is the effect I want to have on the listener. If you don't know the effect, you're not going to have that effect, most likely, unless you just get lucky.
Looking for Disneyland analogy again. Just get in the car and start driving.
Yeah, at least if you don't know that you want to end up in Disneyland, there's a better chance you're going to end up there than where are you going? I don't know. I'm just going to drive. And you hope you're not going to end up at the happiest place on earth. If you just get in the car and drive, you don't even have a clear goal. I just want to end up someplace happy. And it doesn't all have to be change the world, make the listener cry, or it can be I wanted the listener. Some songs are meant to move the emotion. Some songs are meant to move the booty. So it may just be I just want to get them on the dance floor dancing. Great. That's cool. But you should know what that is. And you're going to build your song accordingly to have that impact. I may just want to inspire with my song. Or I may just want to get people have that release of energy because they've had a bad day, or to laugh, whatever it is. You need to be clear about what that is. And I think another thing is to write about something emotional. If you want to impact the emotions, write about something that's emotional. So it's not enough for your song to be based around an interesting turn of phrase. I think the song has to impact the listener's emotions in some ways. So, I've heard songs that are yeah, that's an interesting idea, but I don't care. Oh, that's an interesting turn of phrase or whatever it might be. But ultimately, it's more of an intellectual song. It's not really, who cares, right? Songs that make you go, Might work for Arsenio Hall, but this is many years later. It's not going to work for your song if all it does is make them go, oh, that's interesting. Not going to work. Hit them in the heart somehow, right?
And with intention, right? I mean, this is
that last point, having a clear emotional goal for your song.
People don't create great art by accident. It just doesn't come down and wrap it up for you and deliver a lyric and a melody and a chord change at all. It makes sense. That's the craftsman part of it.
Yeah. And
right? The muse creates the spark. Even
if by some reason the muse just picked you at random for that greatness, you're not going to be able to build a career off that.
Yeah. This is about craftsmanship.
Yeah.
And by the way, like when you were saying all that stuff, I was thinking like how many people I know who don't take this intentional approach before a business meeting, right? Like before every business meeting. Okay. What am I trying to get out of this meeting? Right. What's my intention? We've talked about this before in the past, but like a friend of mine came down and met with Tony Brown once for the first time. And it was pissed
legendary record exec in Nashville.
Yeah.
He played keyboards for friggin' Elvis, right?
Yeah.
Played piano for Elvis, but also produced George Strait forever and just a legend.
Had several record labels. He's a player. And it was pissed that there was no follow-up. Like he didn't greet him again or follow up or reach out. Like he was a long-lost friend. Wrong intention.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so his intention was, I was just going to run there and talk with him. He's going to love me. And then we're going to become friends and end up with a record deal.
Right.
After one meeting.
Right.
It's the same as thinking, well, I want to get this song heard once. And after one song, after one spin in a market, it's going to be a hit song. Like everybody's going to know. No. Most people, it's going to go in one and you're out the other. You got like 6 more spins per person. You got to get inside their head before they even recognize the song. Right? No matter how good.
Well, it's funny. I listened to the Bobby Cast podcast. Yeah. It's really good. I recommend it. The Bobby Bones, Arkansas. Anyway, this was a while back when he was talking about John Mayer and how Mayer started putting out just like 3 or 4 songs at a time. He put out 3 or 4, wait a few months, put out 3 or 4 more. And Bobby's like, that's great because, you drop a whole album on me and stuff comes at you so fast. I never get the chance to live with those songs. Even though I'm a big John Mayer fan, I never end up listening and living with those songs to really absorb them and fall in love with them. Because the next thing's always coming. And especially, I think, today when, it used to be like, you go to Walmart, I buy a CD. It's physically in my car, right? Yeah. Or on my desk or whatever. And so it's easy to go, oh, yeah, this thing. Pop it in. It's a physical reminder. With streaming, I had a song, My Music, on Amazon or whatever. Or an album. So easy it's gone. I mean, it's there. It's hanging out. But I don't see that physical like CD or cassette or 8-track or vinyl where I can sit and go, I need to listen to that again. You listen to the whole thing. It's so ethereal that gone.
And I mean, it just dawns on me too that we're going to talk about this in my next episode, just the sheer volume, available titles, available art has changed now because of the digital. Right. So before, I mean, it was only pretty much you're only listening to music that was put out by major labels or some kind of label. And the only reason you're aware of it is because they had the money to get it on radio for the most part. Right. I'm generalizing, but that's about 95% of it.
Yeah. Or you happen to see an indie band at a concert and you bought it out of the trunk of their car.
There you go.
And I had a few of those growing up that my sister would turn me on to.
Yeah. You had time. And you weren't bombarded with something new tomorrow or later today or later this minute to consume that whole album and do that. And so that's another reason why. But being aware of not the way it was, but what's happening right now. And why is it happening right now? And being intentional about, okay, so back to the meeting. Like, I'm going to go into this meeting. You better freaking know what you want to get out of that meeting so that you can steer the conversation to the right place. And your expectations are set. If you go to a meeting to try to create a relationship and you create the relationship, it's a win. If you go to the meeting and it's the first time you meet the person and the intention should be to try to create and deepen a relationship, but in your head, the expectation is I'm going to get a record deal and you leave without a record deal, it's a fail in your mind. But you're just miscategorizing it.
Right. Yeah. The fail started when you put the wrong expectations on it.
Yeah. So there it is. Like in those songs, like you can't, and I'm guilty of this, man. Like when I first started writing songs, like a bull in a china shop, meandering around like up in my brain until I vomit out a bunch of crap that somehow assembles a song, but there's no tension. What's the story? Where's the intent? How do I want to make people feel about this?
Yeah,
like, what am I trying to say?
Yeah, and again, you don't have to know that right up front. Sometimes you're just letting your subconscious work itself out and you're finding it. But by the time you call it done, it needs to have that clear intention on it. And then you go back and you rewrite and you polish it. Yep. So you don't have to know all that on the front end. That's cool. Not everybody works that way.
If you read the Julie Cameron book, The Artist's Way, like they talk about, like, you got to do your pages every day, right? Like you got to write for a half hour every day. You just got to write. Well, that taught me when I was songwriting, man, when the muse is there, don't take the pen off the paper.
Yeah.
Just keep going. And then go back later when the dust settles and try to, okay, I was on a topic here, but this line strong, to the point, what I'm trying to say, and then you can assemble it later. So there's certainly that play in the sandbox and just go willy-nilly aspect to it without a doubt. The end product got to be together.
That's right. Somebody said that time is an excellent editor. And so you do those pages, you step away, let time come back, and then time shows you a lot of the edits. So I thought that was a good way to put it. Time is a good editor. So, all right. So we got SPI. So sticky, positioning, impact. Next, we have, and this is going to tick a lot of people off, network. N is for network. So you and your song have to get connected to the right people if you want cuts, right? This is not about writing a good song. This is about writing a song that gets recorded by another artist, okay? So if your goal is just to write compelling songs that your fans will like, well, still you need to network with your fans. You need to get to your fans. So I guess either way, you need network. Your song has to connect to the right people. This is where relationships are key. Can you get your songs to a legitimate publisher who can then get the song in the right hands? Can you play your own songs for a producer directly? Are you writing with the artist? Leveraging your network is a major difference between like good songwriters or great songwriters and great songwriters with great careers. I'm going to say that again. Building and leveraging your network is the major difference between great songwriters and great songwriters with great careers. So your song can be sticky, can be well-positioned, and it can be impactful, but it's never going to get recorded if it isn't networked, because it's got to get to the right people. Got to get to people that can say yes.
Yeah, and not living in Nashville and not knowing anybody is the crappiest excuse you can come up with.
Yes. That's just a starting point. That's just where you are right now.
That excuse is predicated on or based on the idea that everybody who is getting cuts was somehow born into it.
Right.
You know? Like they didn't have to work. They got it easy. And I'm out here in Mississippi and I'm writing hit songs. But I wasn't born into that, the Ashley Gorley family of songwriters, and they got nothing but hits for 150 years. And he just gets it. He ain't any good. He just gets it because like it just makes it like it's almost like insulting.
Yeah,
it's not almost like it is. It's exactly like insulting the hit songwriters that are there. Like they didn't just end. You know what they did? What we're talking about right here. At some point, they're going through this mental exercise and putting this together.
My parents were school teachers. My mom, so her mom, she was a single mom. My mom's dad died when she was 7. So her mom worked different factory, worked at the shoe factory in Batesville for years. So my mom was a school teacher. My dad's parents, my grandmother did a little bit of hair every now and again. They had Baxter Realty, so they did that. He did some ranching and stuff back in Arkansas. My dad's school teacher. About the most music, dad played a little piano. Played saxophone at Arkansas State in the band some. Mom sang some solos in church. That's our musical legacy.
Both my parents can't carry a tune. My dad played Neil Diamond. My mom played the Carpenters.
And she had some good stuff.
Yeah, and I don't believe I have any uncles or aunts or my grandma, grandpa. I don't know where I got it from.
Yeah.
Where I got the bug, where I got the itch, where I got the talent or anything. It didn't come from them. It's a really good point, Brent, that you bring up. Sometimes when I was younger, I would get like a little myth when you hear like somebody came from like a musical family. Well, my dad was like a conductor and my mom played in a band. And so you just kind of grew up around that and you learned early on. Well, it didn't get my way.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been nice.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it doesn't change the ultimate outcome. It doesn't determine. It's like a door opener, not a deal closer. Yeah,
it's a good way to make an excuse.
Yeah, it is. It's just Bill, what were you born with? I was born with excuses. Plenty of them.
Yes, I'm good at making excuses.
Right. Great.
You want one?
Yeah, exactly. I got plenty. I can just hand them out, throw them out like carnival beads, Mardi Gras. Come on. And that's the part people hate, or sometimes people really get mad at it because like, oh, they're just getting all those cuts because they're buddies with the artist or whatever. Yeah, that's part of the job. I mean, it is part of the job. It's not music luck. It's music business. It's not just music, not music luck, music business.
And how is it that everybody gets so screwed up on it? Can I ask you that? How is it that somebody from like a small town, like their friend gets a job, a good job because they got a friend at that company who puts in a good word for them and they get it and they're like, way to go, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, you got to know somebody in the music industry. I mean, it's a closed club. Like you could say the same thing about that person that got that job. But what got them that job? A relationship.
Yeah. And sometimes it ticks people off about that stuff too. The friend of the politician gets the business contracts, the crony capitalism, all that stuff. You can be mad at it, whatever, but it is what it is. I mean, it's built-in excuses.
And but also you do it too. That's just the point. It's a reason to get an excuse. It's a reason to say I can't get it done because somebody else is in my way. I'm being held down by the man. But you know what? If you look around you, it's like empathy, right? You can't govern from empathy because who are you going to be more empathetic about? That guy on the street corner that's asking you for $1 or your children?
Right, children.
Yeah. Oh, so what? You're not playing fair? So you're just going to take your kids and put you're a jerk. Because you care about your kids more than some guy you don't know who needs help. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. I care about my kids more than that guy that needs help. But I ain't going to hell for that. You do it too. Everybody does it. And so figure it out, man. It happens.
It does. It's like if you want to be an NFL football player, they have the combine. They have scouts. Where do the scouts go? They go to the college games, right?
Yep.
And the combine, who do they invite? The best college players. Now, if you're sitting in your hometown and you're running around the football field on Monday morning or whatever, and you're training, you're running streets, you're lifting weights, you're fast, you're strong, man, they never invite me to the combine. They don't hold open tryouts. Get on a friggin' team, right? Yeah. You're 18 and you're like, I'm just going to make it. I'm just going to make it in the NFL. You going to go play ball somewhere? Yeah, man, with my buddies in the Sandlot, I'm awesome. Okay, they made a movie about that. What was that? That Mark Wahlberg movie? He's a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. When they had a strike and they had some open tryouts. Yeah. It was like a freak thing, and he made a team as a special teams player. Like, true story. Not Mark Wahlberg, but the guy he portrayed. I mean, like in the 70s or something. That's why they made a movie. Because that's really freaking rare, right? Yeah. So if you're like 18, 19, you want to go pro as a football player, you got to get on a team. Because that's where they go to scout. And that's where you learn to get better. So you can have all these natural gifts, but you're like, it's all.
You still got to learn how to play football. You still got to learn how to run a route. You got to learn. Guess what? You got to learn how to run. Okay. So I check this out. I know that Ty Law, who was like a massively successful and a super talented, I think it was a safety.
Yeah, some sort of defensive back for the Patriots for years.
The Patriots, yeah. And so, but a safe. His job is to guard the wide receiver. You need two things to be a wide receiver. Number one, you got to have hands, like really good hands that's going to catch that ball. But number two, you have the best hands in the world. You got to be fast. Mm-hmm. Fast. You know, Chris Collinsworth talks about it all the time. I was a white boy with speed. Like, you know, he's like, I could run. And that's why he got to be the wide receiver. So Ty Law, you got to be fast to do that. Do you know that he consulted at length with one of the world's best track runners, the female, I can't remember her name, maybe Joyner?
Jackie Joyner Kersey?
I think it might have been Jackie Joyner Kersey. Now, I might be wrong on the name. Don't hold me to that. But it's somebody of her caliber as a track star, as an Olympian. He's like, man, I'm trying to prove. And she looked at one film of him for 10 seconds. And she's like, boy, you know how to run. He's like, I'm already a pro football player making millions of dollars because I'm fast. And she's like, yeah, but you don't know how to run.
Yeah.
Woo! And you know what? Then so he's not just thinking about football. He's like, okay, you got to put your feet this way instead of this way. And you're going to be more efficient.
It's like when you're playing on that level, those little things make it.
Yeah. It's the difference, right? It's a difference because the difference between getting the ball and not getting the ball, it's the difference between adding 1 or 2 more years to your career were not doing that. And he had a pretty long career, I think.
Yeah, he's got some rings, I think.
And it's like, when you learn how to swim, if you're like, shh, and you're just trying to move as quick as you can, you're doing it wrong. But when you're stroking and letting that glide happen, that's when your speed picks up. But it's the subtleties, right? Like, God.
I know I'm swimming great. Look at how much water I'm kicking up. Actually,
yeah.
I don't think that's really the point.
There's nuances to the game. It ain't just black and white, and networking is one of them. Dang it.
It's a huge one. I mean, so your song can be sticky, can be memorable. It can be well positioned for the market. Like, it's just right for a country. It really is like a country hit or pop hit or rock hit or whatever. It could be impactful. Like, man, everybody that hears it cries or dances or whatever. But if you don't get it to the right people, it's not going to get cut. All right, you ready for S?
Mm-hmm.
Start again. So you want your songs need to be sticky, well positioned, impact, networked, then do it again. Because one song is not going to get you there.
That's right.
One song is not, we talked about this earlier, one song is not a career. Spins isn't a guarantee. You can write song with built-in spins, but they may not get cut because nothing's a guarantee in this business. The more songs you write with built-in stickiness, positioning, impact, networking, the better your chance of songwriting success. And that's what it comes down to, is doing it again and again and again and again, putting a lot of those songs out there. Then hopefully they start getting cut.
That's right. I mean, that's why you got to love it. That's why you got to love this. You
got to love the grind. You got to love the game.
Yep. If you don't, because that's it, that the do it again part is like, why do you do it again? Not because Brent said it's the S and spins, because if you don't, you're going to climb a tower with a gun and end up on the 6 o'clock news. Yeah. That's why I became an artist. There was nothing logical about it.
Yeah.
It was like, I got to do this or I'm going to explode.
Yeah. You got to do it again and again and more songs and not like, I got this one. Yeah, I wrote it with my buddy who's now got a record deal. I'm going to kick back, let it happen.
Light a cigar and wait for the money to roll in. Exactly.
Start shop for Cadillacs. No, if you want a career, all right, great. You got that one. Work it. Next song. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. It's partly a numbers game. I mean, I'm blessed. I just found out at the time of this recording last night that I got another like Southern gospel cut.
Yes.
Yeah, so happy about that. So I've been planting those seeds for about a year now. I'm writing with some great people in that world that are hit writers in that world. You didn't just write one and then get a cut? No, I didn't. You were intentional about the networking and the room and the platform that you're going to be writing for. You thought about all that before you? Oh yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. We're like, oh, this is a great hook. I mean, it's one of those that like the hook came out in the room and I was like, surely this has been done. It's so obvious that this is, because I'm just learning the market. This has got to have been a hit like 5 times. Like, no, it hasn't. I'm like, how is that not a hit already? All right, great. All right. Go with it. Yeah. So that's happened a few times. Like, it's so obvious. And yeah, then you're right where it's like, this is a sing along and it's going to, stick with you and it's clear and it's a testify kind of thing. And it's networked because my co-writer, one of the co-writers on it, can send it directly to the band. And that's what she did. And they put it on hold and they cut it. And so it has all those things. It's sticky. It's well positioned because they know the market really well, going, oh, this is going to be good for this type of artist in this genre. And it was impactful because it gets you raising your hands and testifying. And then it's networked. And you know what? I'm going to be writing with them again next week. And we're going to write another one. And you've been doing it again for a year. You planted that seed a year ago and you kept working it. And now it's turned into corn. You want to get corn, you got to plant corn. Yeah. And I think we wrote that song earlier this year, but I've been writing those songs and now they're starting to get cut. I had a couple of those in the past month that have gotten cut, but you still got to start writing them before it happens. But I didn't just write one and go, well, that was cool. All right. I'm going to wait until it gets cut to see if I want to invest more. No, it's like, okay, I'm enjoying this. I'm writing with people at a high level that I think this has spins built in, but I can't stop at spin. I got to spins. Let's write some more. And sure enough, started aiming at this kind of market back in like June or July of last year. So it's about a year now. And then it was one we wrote in October that just got cut last month. And then one we wrote, I think earlier this year is the one that just got cut everday. And those others may still get cut at some point, but it's going back, do it again. Well, I'll tell you what, all those country songs too. I mean, Monday Morning Church wasn't my first song I wrote. Just the first one got cut. And every time you get another cut, all of a sudden those songs in the catalog, they get a little bit more marquee value. Yeah, exactly. Oh, he's that cut, so-and-so and so-and-so.
God willing, you get a couple number ones. You know what I mean?
Great.
And all of a sudden, it's like Brent Baxter's on this. Brent Baxter. And who are your co-writers? Like
on those two songs, Kenna West and Jason Cox.
Yeah. God,
who are killing it in that world. Kenna's got like over 30 number ones. Jason's got a bunch. So I've been blessed to like step in at a high level because of success in other markets and relationships. I've known Jason for over a decade.
Yeah.
At work. So
you and Jason have written for a couple of my artists. I mean,
we were at Last First Kiss together for Neil Schuyler and
Killer.
But we hadn't written like for that world, but he's gone off and he's just started killing in that world. In his previous relationship, I was like, hey, how about we try some of that? And because I knew him, I don't have any track record in that market really, but because of relationship and track record in country and stuff, and he knows my chops, he invited me in with Kenna, who's also just flat out killing it in that market.
Yeah.
So success, able to parlay that into higher level networking in that world.
Yes.
So it's the same thing for me as I'm telling you, I'm eating my own cooking here.
Yeah.
Now, this is not something I'm just making up because I like acronyms. I do like acronyms, but I'm applying these to my own writing. Right? I've gotten some results with it. I'm not just
which is why I'm making it up, because I want to share it like with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Because so it will be sticky.
All
right. So, anyway, so that's the thing about this spins. So sticky, positioning, impact, network, start again, and that's how you build. That's how you build a career, I think.
Yep.
But hey, you know what? If this is helpful to you, I have a gift for hanging in here with us this 46, 47 minutes here. It's called Gift from Brent. It's a free ebook. It's called Think Like a Pro Songwriter. And it's full of just stuff I've learned along the way in my years in the music business. Stuff like how to get on the radar of a music publisher, how do pros know who's looking for songs? How do you even know who's looking? So you can play songs for them. Let you know some of the ways we know who's looking for songs, that kind of stuff. Questions you need to ask before you demo a song. So stuff that will save you a bunch of money. And it's free. It's at giftfrombrent.com. Also put you on the Songwriting Pro Insiders list, so you know about like workshops coming up. I do a lot of online stuff. I do Facebook Lives, a lot of free content. Keeps you up with the podcast, all that good stuff. So giftfrombrent.com.
There you go. All right, guys. So hey, if you haven't joined the C.L.I.M.B community, please do so. Ask to be let in. We let everybody in. Take 30 seconds, leave a 5-star rating and review. Subscribe to the podcast and share it. Tell everybody that you're getting something out of it. They might get something out of it too. I think once people listen to an episode or two, the data just clearly shows us they binge. They go down there. They're like, okay, I want to go. And they start listening to other titles that pop out at them. So there's a lot of good stuff in there, guys. And it brings us to the end of another Killer Climb podcast here. This podcast exists. Why? Because we want you to win. So keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top.